Hi everyone, Bandanner here, and welcome back to the WARNO League Season 0.5 from SDL quarterfinals. Today we are with Tof and Chich for their second game. Tof over on the right in blue playing as the 3rd Armoured, and over on the left in red we have Chich playing as the 24th. Again, not a division we've seen played a lot. I'm going to quickly pause so we can have a look at where all these units are. So, Tof first. Got an M150 heading up here. Obviously a really good unit with that tow launcher. Now if it's moving up to there, it's actually going to be pretty close to this tree line. So any short range anti-tank, or mid-range anti-tank I should say, will cause issues there. Just bear that in mind, I guess. We have scouts pushing up here to this building and then the vehicle pulling back. Scouts heading into this building or tree line over here. We also have some scouts at the far side pushing up to this building, very defensive in nature, and then the vehicle driving across the front to that tree line. Over at this side we also have an MP Patrol M67, a Stinger and an ITO heading up here, all looking very defensive in nature at this side. Got a Pivads heading up there as well for some anti-air cover, and we've got a Cobra going in for early defense just in case Chich does decide to aggressively push Charlie. That does happen sometimes. You see people pushing the bottom or this area of the map aggressively and then taking Alpha later. In the center we have a supply, couple of M1A1s, one of those being a command. We've got some mech rifles and we've got a Fireteam Dragon in a Bradley. They're kind of being spread out. I think the command is going to Bravo, Charlie, and then the center. That's the blue line that we see there. And everything else is heading into the middle with a supply just sitting at the back. And then there's another MP Patrol with an M67 heading up to this building here. Very defensive opening for Tof. Let's spin around and have a look at Chich. So Chich, obviously this is USA versus USA. We have scouts heading up to this building here. We have some more scouts heading into the middle, going for the tree line rather than the buildings. Some scouts here heading into this tree line. And then we have some scouts pushing up to the trees here. Again, looking pretty defensive at the moment. We've got an MP Patrol M67, also defensive, going into that building there. Here we have a Stinger, an ITO, a command, and some supply. Command just going into Echo, everything else very defensive again in nature. Both of these players going very, very defensive right now. Over this side we have an MP Patrol M67 recoilless rifle and an Engineer's Dragon team pushing up here. Now, when I said about the M150 having issues, this is a perfect example of the issues. A Dragon and an M67. The Dragon, obviously, we can have a quick look at that there, 1,500 meter range, and the M67 in a very similar vein, if I can grab hold of it. 1,400 meters. That is perfect range to deal with that M150, which will be sat in there. So that's going to be perfect for Chich at the top. In the middle, the bulk of the units, a Stinger, another MP Patrol, a standard military police squad, an M1 IP Abrams, a Pivads, a Chaparral, and an M1 IP Abrams command tank. So, 2 commands for Chich, just the one for Tof. Tof hoping it can cap all the points. Does mean it's likely that Chich will grab the center a little bit early and gain some early points. We reset, we start the game, and we switch to our controller. Early combat, potential for a little bit of an opening battle at the bottom of the map near Echo and Charlie with the Cobra going up against the Scouts, but realistically the Stingers are not far behind to help out those Scouts. I think the Cobra is going to be less use here initially than maybe against some other divisions and in some other map positions. This map is obviously very thin. It's not a wide map, so everything's very focused. So air defense is actually pretty straightforward on this map. As long as you can get some decent long-range radar anti-air somewhere near this area, the center, sort of within this square, you've kind of got coverage of most of the map. And then everything else is just manpads required. Obviously, I'm talking about things like Eyehawks rather than Pivads when I talk about radar AA. Cobra going straight into the middle there, but there will be a Stinger arriving there as well. Very defensive posture for both players. Eagle in already for Toff, but there are no choppers on the other side. The Cobra does manage to get a kill. Takes out the recon vehicle. Manages to also kill the scouts there. Can be happy about that. Looks like it's also doing some damage to the military police there, but already taking fire from the Pivads and goes down to the Stinger and the Pivads. M150 at this side, trying to get a kill on transport, but doesn't get it. So, a little bit of damage done by the Cobra, probably not quite killing as much as it was worth in the grand scheme of things. Skirmishing in the middle with the M1 Abrams. Pivads actually goes down there. The Eagle, however, also goes down. Not ideal, losing an Eagle right on the opener. I don't think it actually got any kills either. At this side, the Engineers, Dragon and the MP Patrol will actually be moved up to deal with these infantry, and the M150 is being ignored at the moment. The infantry are the bigger threat, most likely, because you can avoid the M150 as long as you divert off the road somewhere over here rather than coming into its range. A little bit of movement at the far side of the map. In the top left corner of the screen, the scouts pushing up from Toff's side. Scouts here pushing up as well after clearing that building, though the Dragons and the MP Patrol likely to win this fight overall. Still the M1IP Abrams in the tree line here, but the cap has finally arrived at the other side. The M1A1 Abrams for Toff. But a nice little start to the points. 203 for Chich, and he has secured this side of the map. Still a few infantry in the buildings here for Toff. He's got some mech rifles and a Fire Team Dragon in there. Reinforcements being called in now in the form of recon. And obviously the Bradley and the M1A1 looking pretty good in the middle here. And the M1A1 Abrams Command can still be used as an aggressive unit. Just need to be careful with it. It can still do a lot of damage. Whereas at this side, M1IP's both looking badly damaged. Desperately need a repair. Do we actually have repair trucks coming in? I would have hoped so. We have another command coming in, interestingly enough. A Mutt CV, that must have been a panic buy in case the tank went down. Another couple of Abrams coming in. And some supply is en route. Anti-air wise, we've got a chaparral and the Stinger at this side of the map for Chich. Very little for Toff, though. Relying on the Pivads at the moment. Obviously, bear in mind here that the 24th Infantry Division, which Chich is playing as, have access to the F15E, which obviously has many laser-guided bombs. It is a nasty piece of equipment if you let it operate, and obviously could make short work of these M1A1 Abrams. So Toff will need to be careful if that comes out to play. Chich looking good on the map control right now. Both players bringing in artillery, looking to clear those defensive buildings. Let's spin ourselves around and have a look at this from Chich's side. Another Cobra coming in at the moment for Toff. Neither player looking too aggressive at the right hand side of the map here. It's looking a little bit quiet. We do see those scouts moved up quite far, but there will need to be a lot more reinforcements really to push into that point. And also, Chich has spent a lot on commands. He's got another CV already in that point, obviously. He's got a spare CV in the center here. So he spent another couple of, well, 160 points on commands. I think they're 80 apiece now, aren't they? Let's double check that. Yeah. But that said, of course, Toff has lost a very expensive fighter jet. So that kind of balances out in terms of losses. Does feel like Toff wants to be aggressive here. Pushing this side with the command tank and the Bradley. Taking out those scouts. His scouts moving up in the middle, but taking a bit of a punishment from the various fire support and the MP patrol there. But Toff pushing at the top as well. Lots of units heading in there. The M1A1 Abrams pushing in as well. Infantry out in open ground, though. Not the best place for them to be, especially against a bunch of Abrams. Even if they aren't the best Abrams, that's still a lot of fire support. Fireteam Dragon go down as a result. Cobra is coming in. Chaparral's a bit far back, but Stinger should be more than enough to deal with a Cobra. Toff managing to do a bit of clearance here with the Cobra. It does take a nasty hit finally from that Stinger. Chich is building up a lot of tanks, though. You can see another M1IP Abrams coming in at the top there. I do know that the M150 was lost over here, and there is a Fireteam 84 pushing up this side. The Cobra went down, unsurprisingly. Not going to fare well against that Stinger in the grand scheme of things. A little bit worried about this Abrams command tank at this side. Obviously capable of dishing out a lot of damage and taking a reasonable amount of damage. But under a focus fire situation, which technically it should be, sticking itself out like that, it could go down very quickly. Good clearance by Toff. Did lose a lot of infantry himself, though, but does manage to escape with the M1A1s intact. Gaining some ground can be very important. But the question is, will the pushback from Chich dislodge these Abrams? Artillery coming in on that tree line now. Mech rifles not in a good position. Abrams are being pushed up to engage. Obviously, at the moment, Toff has the issue that he can't really see into that tree line at all without any recon at the front there. He's the Strike Eagle going for the command tank. The smoke went down, but it's not moved and it's dead. Once those bombs are launched, that's it. Unfortunately, a bit late on the smoke. Fantastic hit from the Strike Eagle. As I said, once those came in, we were going to see some M1A1 start to die. And that is the point switching hands. There was the only command. That was the only command in, sorry, for Toff. Chich takes the +3 advantage. There is an Abrams command at the bottom there. Obviously, Toff was looking to do a push down there. Is now having to redirect. And there's a lot of units in this area of the map for Chich. He could be very aggressive here. If he can get close to those Abrams, he will do a lot more damage. And he simply outnumbers the M1A1s right now. But obviously, Toff was hoping to do a push at the bottom. Does really need to do that. Needs to keep the pressure on Chich, because Chich has the advantage at the moment. And without needing to call in reinforcements at the bottom, can concentrate on building up all of these tanks. Artillery coming in from the back there. Trying to get the Bradley. And here these tanks go. Engineers flash here, caught out on their own. I almost feel like Toff is using these infantry as recon at the moment. Not the best use for them. He's losing them very rapidly. These Abrams not looking great right now. Getting caught in the crossfire from the left-hand side and the middle of the map here. Lots of damage done to one of those Abrams. M1A1's having to retreat. Oh, and both M1A1s go down. This is not good. This is very, very bad exchanging for poor Toff. As I said, if you can push up the M1IPs and the M1, even if they're National Guard, if they get close and get hits, they will do an immense amount of damage due to the kinetic energy penetration. It is neutralized again now, but Chich looking pretty good. He's exchanging well at the moment. Both players losing infantry, but unfortunately Tof losing infantry on a regular basis to the immense fire support from these tanks. M1IP takes a hit from a Bradley's TOW 2 there. Fortunately, a Bradley does go down. Those tanks retreating or going straight back in. Some good micro with the tanks right now for Chich. Another M1IP coming in. This tank push here is being pretty effective. Artillery coming in, trying to hit some of those tanks. Unfortunately, artillery not best used against tanks that are being maneuvered and microed, as it's quite easy to just move out of the way of that artillery, and unless you get a very lucky hit. But the infantry here just being torn apart. Another M1A1 coming up, but it's going to fall into exactly the same trap. It's going to be shot at by the Abrams here and also here, catching it in a bit of a crossfire. The best it can hope for is the angles mostly hit the front armor, but one side shot and it will be in serious trouble. As I say, exchanges have not gone well for Tof so far. In the last game we saw a lot of back and forth with those exchanges, some really big swings one way and then the other, which is unusual to be perfectly honest. Strike Eagle's in again. Waiting for a tasty treat, which I assume is going to be this M1A1 when it moves back up the hill. But there's no response from Tof's side in terms of air superiority. Chich can field a lot of Eagles. He's got the F15Cs. He's got the Strike Eagles as well. Better use of that artillery. They're hitting the tanks in that corner. They are going after the Bradley. The M1A1's pushing back up. Keep your eyes on that Strike Eagle. Eventually, it's going to come in and bomb something. Tof obviously having to refocus on the center. Hasn't managed to do his push at the bottom. I still see units on the far left of the screen jiggling about. Maybe trying to make a move. Strike Eagle coming in. Going for the Abrams command tank, which is out in the open again. Another Abrams command tank down. Obviously, that Strike Eagle is just going to wait and pick targets of opportunity, and it is the perfect target to go for the command tanks. Because even if you lose your Strike Eagle, even that you've paid all that money for the Strike Eagle, at least it's helping you with the point situation. But so far, the Strike Eagle has killed 2 command tanks. M1A1 pulling back here again, caught by that crossfire. Bradley's moving up as well, and this is one of the things that is a real strength of the 24th Infantry, is they can field a lot of Bradleys. They may be National Guard Bradleys, but that is still a lot of TOW missiles. And obviously we just have a huge build-up of tanks here. Chich maneuvering very carefully, not overextending. Waiting for chaparrals and stingers to arrive. Can't fault this play at the moment. Very sensible by Chich. Fire Team AT4 coming in here. Hopefully this deploys before it reaches the fire team that's waiting for it. Another M1A1 Abrams command being moved into the center now. That was another one that was poised to go into the bottom or the far side of the map. Phantom AA flittering about. Both players with jets in at the moment. Took a dive there. Managed to get a kill on the Cobra. Did lose the F4E, but Cobra went down. Chaparrals and Stingers quite far forward. Supply goes down as well. Strike Eagle's back in action. That's coming straight in for that command tank. Does he have eyes on it because of where the scouts are? Smoke goes down. Bombs dropped. Oh, and the tank goes down. Another command tank goes down to those nasty Strike Eagles. F15 came in for it. Is being engaged by another F15. Not looking good for Tof's F15 here. Being chased down. I think it might get out. It does just get out. But there's no way at this side to take out that Eagle. Just the Pivads. No Chaparrals in play. Fire Team 84 do manage to deploy here and are engaging, but look at the map. It is an absolute sea of red. 10 minutes to the victory. 23 minutes just under left of this game. And as it looks right now, unless Tof can pull a rabbit out of the hat, this game is definitely in Chich's favour. Over at this side of the map, there is an M1 Abrams command there. I wondered if we might see a push from Chich, but I think he's happy to just sit, hold, and keep his +3. And realistically, that's all he needs to do. There is another M1 Abrams command tank coming in from the back there. But I just don't know how it's going to get in here safely. These scouts just have really good eyes on everything. They could see that tank just parked at the edge there, I think. The scouts here as well, covering that side. Abrams coming in here. There is just a huge amount of Abrams tanks in for Chich, though, at this side of the map. A single M1A1 isn't going to be enough. He has 4 in total in this area, to be fair. He could get his own. In fact, no, is that... There's 5 in total, but 1's badly damaged. That's including the command tank, but the command tank's just rushed in. Goes straight into a fire team law. Instant response by Chich, bringing up the M1 IPs. Air rifles coming in as well. And here it is, the mean machine itself. Strike Eagle back in action. The smoke went down in time. Bombs obviously way off as a result. Trying to come back for another pass. Drops. But again, a miss. Can't get the angle when it turns like that. F15 Eagle in. Trying to see that off, but it has left the map. There are way too many Abrams there from Chich's side. Even with these ones coming in from the side here. Good side shot there. M1 IP goes down. Another M1 IP almost going down as well. Plenty of damage being done here. This is a good crossfire situation. Well done to Tof. Obviously, the issue here. Oh, a nice kill on the command tank, but there's plenty more commands there. The M1 IP has lots of incoming and it goes down. There's just too many tanks there, even for an M1A1. Simply outnumbered, but plenty of damage done. Can Tof keep this up and retake some ground here? Could this be the pushback like we saw in the previous games? You hear a Thunderbolt knocking around at the back here. Good counter push, but at that far corner, lots of units pushing up for Chich as well. Obviously the Cobra's unable to operate now. There are chaparrals and stingers everywhere. The anti-air coverage for Chich is pretty good. And we have Bradley pushing around the back here now as well. It's getting into a defensive position, but it's encroaching more and more this way. Toff has made it back into the point and is moving up that Abrams command tank, but it's going to be spotted, and I expect we will see a Strike Eagle very shortly afterwards. Try and keep us pointed in the air so we can see it coming in. More Abrams coming in for Chich. Haven't seen any M1A1HAs coming in for Toff as yet. May not have any in his deck. It's not a definite item to have in the deck for the 3rd Armoured. You can survive without it, as the M1A1s are very good. Command is in. We are neutralised. 17 minutes left to the game. Chich has a big lead on points though, and he has a lot more units on the field still. Thunderbolt coming in, looking for some tank kills. Isn't going to get them. Manages to spin around and get the other tanks instead. The beauty of the Thunderbolt. F15 coming in to finish off the Thunderbolt, and the Strike Eagle is on its way. Strike Eagle can possibly see that command tank. I suspect it can. The bombs are off. Smoked after the fact. The bombs are already there and they hit their mark. Another loss of a command tank. This is a painful game for Toff. Those Strike Eagles just clearing up, and there's just simply not enough AA to be dealing with them. And there's the surrender. Commiserations, Toff. That was a rough game. Very well played by Chich. Very good use of those Strike Eagles throughout that game. Obviously, over double the kills to losses in that one. Tanks actually did a pretty good job on that side, even though they are the weaker tanks. There's that Strike Eagle. 3 Abrams command tanks and an M1A1 Abrams. Really cleaning up there. Really cleaning up. And the other Strike Eagle got another M1 Abrams command tank. Very well played with the Strike Eagle. Can't really fault that at all. Over at the other side, nothing too stand out, unfortunately. As you could see, the points were very much in Chich's favour for that game when it came to kills. Oh, I think we have to give the Strike Eagle MVP for the sheer amount that it killed. I mean, that is a lot of money. A lot of points spent on those units. Well played, guys. Thanks very much for joining me for Game 2. Stay tuned tomorrow for the decider. Chich has won this one. Toff won yesterday's. Who wins the final tomorrow? Who goes through to the next round? Thanks for watching, everyone. Please do like, share, subscribe. I'll see you all then.